Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q4 FY21 earnings conference call of Solar Industries hosted by Antique Stock Broking. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Manish Mahawar from Antique Stock Broking. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rituja. On behalf of Antique Stock Broking, I would like to welcome all the participants on the call of Solar Industries. From the management, we have Mr. Manish Nuwal, CEO and Managing Director, along with Mr. Suresh Menon, Executive Director, Mr. Monish Agrawal, Joint CFO, and Ms. Shalini Mandana, Joint CFO on the call. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the call to Manish ji for opening comments, post which we will open the floor for question and answer. Thank you, and over to Manish ji.
Very good afternoon, dear shareholders and potential investors. I am Achal, representing the Investor Relations team of Solar Industries India Limited. A very warm welcome to the earnings call to discuss Q4 and annual earnings of FY21. I would like to make a gentle reminder here to kindly note that anything that we say which refers to our outlook for the future is a forward-looking statement which must be read in conjunction with the risk that company faces. A full statement and explanation of these risks is available in our filings with regulatory authorities, which can be found on the stock exchange website. We will start the call with some remarks on the performance of the company by Mr. Manish G. Nuwal. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon to all the valued investors. I do hope you all are doing well and staying safe. Our Q4 FY21 and full year results reflect Solar's adaptiveness and ability to pass through the extreme challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to place on record my gratitude to all our stakeholders who continue to show faith in us. The meticulous planning and execution by our team has enabled us to surpass both the revenue and bottom line of the previous year, despite of lockdown restrictions caused by COVID-19. Solar's continued focus and effort on adapting to the new changing times helped it to thrive in the environment and demonstrate its true strength. Driven by favorable macroeconomic factors in the quarter, we witnessed increased sales to Coal India, Singareni Collieries, housing and infrastructure as apparently seen in the results. Similarly, upside was also reflected in our exports and overseas business. We continue to build on this positive momentum, and by combining it with our resource optimization measures, we saw improvement in our bottom line. In defense, owing to the COVID-19, there were some disruptions in new orders processing and execution of the existing orders. We have received production clearance for multi-mode hand grenade recently. We are now expecting strong upside to happen in FY 21-22 and envisage an increased revenue contribution from this sector. More than a year out since the onset of the pandemic, there have been so many changes in the business landscape and will be there in coming time as well. Even though we navigate this difficult time, we are targeting a business growth of 30% plus in FY 21-22. Our optimism is built on expected growth from all the operating sectors. As the economy is facing a confluence of risk, the company believes that profit being retained in the business shall protect it from the unforeseen circumstances without compromising its aggressive growth plans. Keeping that in view, our company have decided to keep dividend intact at 6 rupees per share. Our ethos is to give back to the society and make a difference. We have made various contributions for the society to win the fight against coronavirus pandemic and continue to remain committed to support the government efforts and play our part responsibly. Now I am handing over the call to Achal to take you through the financials. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So, the key financial highlights for quarter 4 are: the consolidated revenue is up by 44.55%, which is 791 crores versus 547 crores in the previous year. Domestic explosives revenue is up by 41.85%, which is 417 crores against 294 crores. Domestic explosives revenue was increased by 13.7%, wherein the quantity was increased by 107,336 metric ton versus 94,927 metric ton. Domestic realization of explosives has grown by 26%, which is 31,027 versus 38,922. Initiating systems revenue increased by 51.42%, which is 111 crores versus 73.34 in the previous year. Coming to our customer sector, Coal India as a percentage of revenue is constant, which is almost 18% versus 19% in the previous year. Non-CILN institutional revenue as a percentage of sales has slightly gone down by 2%. However, in the absolute terms, it is 89 crores versus 70 crores, which is a growth of 27%. As I mentioned in the previous quarter, we estimated a good quarterly growth in housing and infra sector. The revenue is up by a stellar 50%, which is 163 crores, which was 163 crores against 244 crores this year. Our exports and overseas revenue continue to show a healthy growth. The sales increased from 174 crores to 291 crores, which is a growth of 67%. However, defense revenue is down by 26%, contributing 26 crores against 19.54 crores. Coming to our materials consumption, the raw material cost is 55.18% compared to 54.12%. The change is mainly on account of increase in our commodity prices. Employee cost, the cost on sale has reduced by about 2%, that is 8.38% against 10.49% in the previous quarter last year. Other expenses as a percentage on sale is decreased from 19% to 15.65%, showing our efficiency. As far as EBITDA is concerned, we have made the EBITDA numbers at 167 crores against 110 crores against margin of 21.10 compared to 20.01. Interest and finance cost is decreased to 1.3% from 2.6% year on year due to lower rate of interest. Depreciation has increased from 22.14 crores to 22.53 crores due to increased capex in the previous year. Coming to PBT, PBT increased by drastic 84% year on year. We recorded PBT of 134 crores compared to 73 crores with a margin increase to 16.93% from 13.33. Coming to our PAT, PAT increased by 79% from 53.18 crores to 95.04 crores with a margin increase to 12.01 from 9.71%. These were the updates for the quarter. Let me now take you through yearly performance in short. Sales have reached to 2516 crores from 2237 crores in FY21. EBITDA margin is at 21.31% at 536 crores compared to 21.25% at 475 crores. Coming to interest, which is decreased from 2.46% to 1.8% in this year. Depreciation has increased from 84.53 crores to 94 crores due to increased capex. We have recorded a PBT of 397 crores compared to 336 crores with a margin increase to 15.79 from 15.01. PAT margins of 11.45% down from 12.46% only because of the tax effects in the previous year. Capex. The capex to 31st March is almost 261 crores, whereas the capex plan for the financial year 21-22 is 315 crores. Coming to our order book, we have a total order book of 1510 crores, comprising of CIL and SCCL of 830 crores and defense of 680 crores. To working capital, our working capital days have decreased from 113 days to 108 days. This is all from our end. We would be very happy to take any questions, comments, and suggestions that you may have. Over to you, Manish.
Hello, Rituja. Yeah, Rituja, we can open the floor for Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Andrea Prushkar from Cognito Advisor. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Congratulations, sir, for a truly explosive set of numbers. I had 2 or 3 questions. The first question I had was that your realization has sharply increased from 31 something to 38 something. So could you explain the reasons why that has happened and how is that likely to pan out in the future? And within the 30% revenue guidance that you have given, could you tell us as to how this would be broken up by domestic versus exports? And finally, the incremental capex that you're doing both this year and next year, what kind of asset turnover should we assume for that?
If you take your first question, that the current realization has gone up from 31,000 to 38,922, it is mainly because of the rise in the commodity prices. And like we have been explaining that most of our contracts are linked to a formula, and as a result of which, whenever there is an increase in the raw material prices, our finished good prices also goes up. So
right.
Most of the price increase is because of those factors. And
right.
the increase is also there because of the expansions in the overseas territories. So it is because of that factor also.
Okay.
Second question, can you repeat again?
My question was that you have given a guidance of about 30% revenue top line growth. So how would this be broken up between domestic and exports?
Yeah. So like we have said, we are likely to grow more than 30% in the next year. It is because of our expected volume increase in Indian market by more than 15%, and price increase will also be there by around 15%. So
right.
And overseas, both sides we are expecting around 30% increase in our top line. And
right.
also it will be added by the increased defense sale. So overall, we are expecting we should grow by 30%.
Right. Right. And my final question was on asset turnover on your capex last year and this year, and next year.
The capex for the current year was around 260 CR, and next year we are projecting capex of 315 CR. The capex.
Yeah, my question was what kind of asset turnover should we assume for this incremental capex this year and next year?
2 to 2.5.
Sorry?
Since you are aware that our most of the capex program, which has happened in last couple of say around 4 years, and that was mainly for defense and overseas, and we have added capacity in Indian products also. So the realization of those investments will start in the form of defense and increase overseas volume, and as a result of which we are expecting the asset turnover ratio will go up. So currently, if we take 30% increase in our top line, definitely that will help us to increase asset turnover by almost 30%. So the realization investments will reflect in 21-22 and 22-23 numbers.
Right. So what would be the final asset turnover rough range?
It will be around 2.5.
2.5. Okay. So thank you very much, sir. And again, congratulations for a great set of numbers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek from BSP Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I had a couple of questions. Are there any currency translation losses in the current quarter's number? Hello?
Yeah.
Your voice is breaking. Just repeat again.
Sir, I was trying to understand, are there any currency translational losses in the current quarter's P&L?
Yeah, it is around 34 CR. Sales.
That is for the year, ma'am?
No, that is for the quarter. And for the year, it's around 125 crores.
So this is the impact due to the currency movement that we have seen in the P&L, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's helpful. And Manish, you just wanted to understand one thing. In the last interaction, you had kind of mentioned that you are looking to increase capacity in the domestic segment. Have you been able to kind of finalize anything on that, if you can help us understand that?
Yeah, in the last quarterly call, we have said that we have decided to expand the capacities and set up the plants at the new location. So since you are aware that in last 2 months, there was pandemic-related restriction on the movement of people and related things. So that has not yet taken place, but we are expecting that in next 3 months, we will be able to finalize the locations and we will share the plans.
Sure. And so just lastly, before I get back into the queue, if you can just help us understand very strong traction that we have seen in the domestic segment, but the overseas and export in the fourth quarter has been a little muted. So if you can get some commentary around maybe Turkey, Ghana, South Africa, what's the thing and the expectation around Australia, that would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, if you look at the annual numbers, just a minute. If you look at the annual numbers, the sales has increased by almost 10%. Sales to the Coal India, and increase of non-CIL is reduced by 8%. Housing infra was reduced by 2%, increased by only 2%. And if you look at exports and overseas, it increased by 32%. So there is a traction in export and overseas. But like you said, and we have been sharing, that in the Q1 and Q2, housing and infra sales was low due to COVID-related impact. Now that has picked up, and that is reflected in our quarterly numbers. And as a result of which, the sales in housing infra increased by 50% if you compare it with the last year. Export and overseas increased by 67%, which is more than the domestic sale. And similarly, Coal India and non-Coal India has also increased by around 30%. So there is a traction in all these sectors.
And sir, anything on the overseas bit in terms of, particularly in terms of Turkey, Ghana, South Africa? Any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Menon can comment on this.
Yes, in the overseas segment, we had COVID-related issues in South Africa, and we also seen COVID-related activities or restrictions in Turkey in the last quarter, which I think is opening up in Turkey. There are restrictions in South Africa continuing because mainly in underground mine, because it is an enclosed space. They didn't want to allow new people to come into the mine. And though we were able to get an entry, but entire progress was actually a slowdown in South Africa. The rest of the countries, is normal. And despite of all this, we have been able to maintain our expected sales and revenue.
Sure. Okay, so that is very helpful. I'll come back in detail. Thank you so much for answering my questions.
One point I would like to add here that we have not only maintained the sales, we have increased the sales by almost 34%. It is despite of the COVID-related challenges. So we have seen that situation is improving, but the real improvements will be seen in coming quarters.
Sure, that's helpful. Thank you so much, Manish.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Mayank Bhandari from Nirmal Bang Securities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, I just wanted to understand in terms of business, you have different businesses lines. So are the margins different? Let's say defense, housing and infra, and business from Coal India Limited, and for export?
Like we have been explaining that our business is mainly explosives. We make products for various applications, which includes mining, housing, infra side, defense, and space-related things also. So if we take the margin, definitely margins will be better in defense because of the long gestation timeline, lower asset turnover ratios. So EBITDA margins will be better. But if we make it an average for all these, then definitely margins will be around 21-22%. And our current margins are around 20-21%, which is likely to go up once the defense sales start increasing.
Okay. You have given the guidance for 30% growth next year, but if I were to understand the CapEx that we are doing right now, what kind of guidance you will give for next, let's say, 3 years in terms of growth?
Your voice is not clear. Can you repeat again, please?
Yeah, you have given guidance of 30% growth next year.
Right.
So I just wanted to know what guidance you can give for next 3 years, let's say, till FY24, in terms of growth, considering that you are doing CapEx now.
We are expecting a growth of around 20% once this COVID-related thing settles. But for 21-22, we are giving a guidance of 30% at this stage. And once situation improves, we will be better. We will be in a better position to give more clarity on businesses after a year or 2 years.
Okay. Sir, what would be the execution timeline for our defense order book? What would typically be the execution cycle?
Like we have recently received an order for multimode. The timeline they have given is 2 years, but like we have been experiencing COVID-related challenges at their side also, and there are some challenges on the supply side as well. So if we eliminate the COVID-related factors, normal cycles are around 2.5 years.
So if can you tell us how much does that order is on an HP?
The current order book
out of 80 crores.
The current order book from defense-related products is 680 crores.
No, out of that, how much is multi-mode hand grenade?
Yeah, it is 450 crores.
Okay, 450 crores. And 450 crore has an execution timeline of 2 to 3 years, almost 2 years.
As per the contractual condition, it is 2 years, not 2.5 years. But like COVID has impacted on the supply and the user side as well. So we may expect 3-4 months rollover on that side.
Okay. And any other order in pipeline? Any other order you are bidding for in defense?
We keep sharing once orders are received with all the investors. So we will definitely share with you as well. At this stage, there is no order received after the multi-mode.
Okay. Okay. And lastly, on the Coal India's target of achieving 1 billion ton production by 2024-25 and 2 billion 2023. So I wanted to understand in terms of market share, like how much market share would you be having while supplying to Coal India? I mean, I just wanted to understand from that perspective, like how much percentage of explosives you are supplying to them. Any
Yeah. Let me answer that question. This is our market is roughly about 25% in Coal India, and Coal India is poised to reach that 1 billion ton mark. This current year, that is 2021, they were down by roughly about 2% of the previous year's production. That is because I think offtakes were poor of coal, but they could stretch this timeline probably to 24-25 to reach that 1 billion ton. Where is the use? Probably they are targeting to reduce import of coal by about 100 odd million. We also see government allotted about 30 mines, new mines to Coal India for starting up the mines. So that's the investment going on. So I think they are focused on reaching that 1 billion ton mark. And this 1 billion ton coal production also necessitates that they will be removing overburden almost to the tune of 2 times. And last year they have progressed well by removing additional 16% more overburden than the produced coal than the previous years. I think they will try to maintain this at 20% level, growth level for overburden, and that's helpful for us in the explosive industry.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Amit Savji from Stage One Investment. Please go ahead.
Manish, first thing is your voice is not clear.
Voice is
and
not
clear.
Okay. Are you getting my voice now clear?
No, we are getting your voice, but it's not clear.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir, but I can hear the management loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay. Something problem in my side then.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, I would like to understand the order book of defense.
We have already explained on this point that total order book is 680 crores and multi-mode is almost 450 out of that.
Anything regarding the missile program?
Yes, we have orders for missile program as well. So those all the products like missiles, pyros, fuses, mines, and multi-mode, high energy materials, all these products combined together has resulted into a total order book of 680 crores.
Okay. And regarding your guidance of 30% on the top line, what will be the guidance for the bottom line?
We are expecting more than 30% growth on bottom side as well.
Okay, okay. And anyway, congratulations for your great numbers. Keep it up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sujit Jain from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Manish and team, congratulations. A very tough year, both within the company and outside, and you really managed it well. I have a few quick questions. As you explained, the housing and infra sales have done well QOQ, YOY. Even if I compare that with March 19 quarter, it's a 5-6% growth. I wanted to check with you what would be our market gains in the domestic market. That is question number 1. Question number 2 is on overseas operations. If I take out the difference between the console and the standalone, the margins there are, to the tune of 25-26%. is it safe to assume now that the losses in the Australia and South Africa are behind us? Thank you.
The first point, that what is the market share of solar in Indian market? Like Mr. Menon has explained, that as far as Coal India and other bigger mining companies' orders are concerned, we have market share of around 25%. As far as non-mining sector is concerned, which is mainly housing and infra, our market share is also around 26-27%. To increase the footprint or to increase the market share, we are decided to expand our footprints in southern part of India and then extreme northwest part of the India. So once those things are in place, definitely market share will go up. Second, as far as losses in South Africa and Australia is concerned, compared to the last year, despite of all the COVID-related challenges, which Mr. Menon was explaining, that visits to the mine by the new people were not allowed, and these were the real challenges for us. Despite of these things, our sales in Australia and South Africa has also increased. In our annual report, you can see those numbers, which will be loaded very soon. But in overall, South Africa, our revenue has increased by almost 49%. And in Australia, although based on the very low in the previous year, that has increased from 3 crores to almost 23 crores.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we were not able to hear you properly. May I request you to please come near to the device?
Sure, I will answer the things again. As far as the market share in India is concerned, in Coal India, our market share is around 25%. In non-Coal India side and mining side, our market share is around 27-28%. We are planning to set up new facilities in the southern part of India and a new plant in northern part of India. That will help the company to increase its footprint, and as a result, it will increase in market share as well. As far as the losses in South Africa and Australia is concerned, we were having the orders, but due to COVID-related restrictions, we could not start the supplies. And the situation was extremely challenging in those parts. Despite of all these, our sales in South Africa has increased by 68%. In Australia, it has increased by 530% because of the lower base in the previous year. So we believe that since the COVID situation will definitely be better than the last year, the sales from these two subsidiaries will go up significantly. And as a result, definitely we will reach to the break even, and then we will result into the profits.
So
I hope I have answered your points.
Yeah, so these numbers that you have given are for the quarter, 68% and 530% YOY increase.
No, I have given it for the whole year.
For the whole year. And which also means that when the losses get contained and reduced, the margins will look up further in the subsidiaries.
Yes.
Great. And in terms of organization, I wanted to, ask you, this is a great opportunity. Our size is still small when I look at the global opportunity that we are participating in. In terms of the organization structure, we have, had some people leaving from the promoter side as well, and the responsibility for which has been given to Menonji in terms of the institutional business, etc. And one understands that some of the family members have also come in the business, such as your son. One also understands that you have hired professionals in Australia, one professional who was one of the heads of a mining giant there. So how do you basically build the organization for this company, which you have grown in the past at 14-15% CAGR, and which I'm sure you plan to grow at that rate going ahead?
Yeah, like Mr. Menon in our quarterly call has explained that our company is like an Atma and people are like Sharir. So Sharir can keep moving from one person to another, but Atma will remain same. So we also believe that it's a part and parcel of the life. People will keep coming in and will go out. If you look at last 25 years of our presence in the market share has gone up of solar in all aspects. And that is how we have transformed our company from India to a global India-based MNC company. We have hired talent from various companies, international companies and domestic companies as well. If you look into the South Africa, hello?
Yes.
If you look at the businesses and the people in African nations, we have the best talent of the markets. Similarly, we have the talent in Turkey also. We have built a strong team in Australia also. Similar efforts will be there in future as well. And because of our strong HR policies and strong HR section, the company keep investing in the new sets of people. They groom the people to take the more leadership role. And that has been experienced, or you can experience in the last couple of years of succession planning as well. As far as the impact on the business is concerned, Mr. Menon has already explained in the last call and this call also, the sales from all these sectors has started improving, and similar things we will see in the coming years as well.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rohan Gupta from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon, and sir, congratulations on a very strong set of numbers.
Thank you, Rohan.
Manishji, couple of questions. Sir, first is that our sales this time in this current quarter have benefited and have seen significant improvement in initiating systems, which has shown almost 50% kind of revenue growth. I just wanted to understand any delayed order has been executed in the current quarter, or it's just only on a low base of last year, or has there any change in a business mix in the current quarter? That is one. Sir, second, this quarter explosives rates have gone up significantly. I understand it's mainly driven by ammonium nitrate price, which has gone up. So that overall growth, revenue growth of 40% plus is driven by 25% price increase led growth in explosives. But in the same way, sir, our margins, generally because we work on a margins per ton basis. So our margin in percentage has actually remained similar of the previous quarter. It means that on our margins per ton has also improved significantly. Just wanted to understand that is there any inventory-led gain which has been there in the current quarter, or it's just all coming from the change in product mix? These are the two questions, sir.
So the first part was on the sales of initiating systems. In Q4, definitely sales has increased as far as initiating systems are concerned. Just a minute. The initiating system sales has increased mainly due to the last year when our exports were held up and the sales in domestic market were also held up due to lockdown. So in this quarter there was no cessation, and that's why sales of initiating systems has gone up. It is not like that the orders of initiating system get converted only in this quarter. It's not like that. So this is my first portion. Second, you have asked about the inventory related gains. So the inventory level in our company is not very huge because of the supply chain related disruptions which we have been observing in the last 6 months. So there is no specific or significant inventory gain as such. And like we have been explaining that the raw material prices have increased, the Coal India prices increase after 1 or 3 months time based on different contractual norms. So there is no significant gain arise out of this part of inventory gain. The third point
means, yeah. So sir, because our margins, EBITDA margins at almost at 20.8% compared to Q3 20.5%, while the AN prices and end product prices have gone up sharply. So I just wanted to understand is because our margin is more like 6 per ton kind of margin. So have we seen any significant improvement in per ton EBITDA margin in our company, sir?
No, I don't think that your perception is right. We don't work on certain basis. But definitely every industry has, when we are selling in tonnage, so our margins are also based on per ton. But as far as percentage EBITDA margin is concerned, our most of the contracts are linked to the raw material, and over a lag of 1 or 3 months, it keep adjusting. So, and our margins are moving around 21-22% plus minus 0.5%. So, and we believe that this will keep going up. As far as per ton margin is concerned, it is practically same, but definitely as prices are moving up, we are also increasing prices in some other sector, exports, domestic market. So percentage are almost same.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. Sir, if I'm allowed to ask another question, I will go ahead with it.
Please go ahead.
Sir, you gave almost 30% kind of guidance for the growth in top line, right, for the current year?
Yes.
Yeah, that's if you can just give some slight breakup on that, what are the growth drivers for this 30% growth in the current year? It's all coming from the domestic or exports or defense. If you can just further if you can give us a further breakup of that.
We are expecting growth of 25-30% in India and export overseas, and defense will definitely be double from the current level. And if we combine all these three sections, definitely growth will be around 30% plus.
So it will be driven from both domestic as well as international business, both in the same percentage, like domestic market also will grow by 30%, sir?
Yeah, we are expecting 25-30% growth in India and export overseas business as well.
So just one thing, one clarification, because this year has been a pandemic year and government is definitely very tight on their budget and they have to do a lot of other social spending. Do you think that the government focus on defense will be slightly lower in the current scenario, and the ordering from the government could have taken a hit, which probably is already seen in last 6 months that that government is right now not want to focus much on that and not want to spend much on that because their focus is right now on something different, and that the scenario may continue for another 6 months to 9 months or maybe a year till the time they streamline their budgets, and that can hit their defense allocation and our revenue or our orders, sir?
So on this aspect, we should keep in mind that we are supplying the products which are revenue or recurring in nature. Second, based on the government recent push of Atmanirbhar Bharat Yojana, they also want to indigenize the ammunition production as much as possible. At the moment, if country buys these products from abroad, prices will definitely be higher. As there will be resource constraint, we believe that this drive will go faster and we will get advantage of that. If you look at the current, if you look at the government's updates on these items, the total coverage of ammunition in the country is not up to the expected level or desired level. So there is still a big vacuum, and we believe that our products which we have already developed and we have already received the orders, and we are likely to receive few more RFPs in coming months. Based on all these three factors, first is the government has a pressure to reduce the budget for any sector other than health-related issues. That will give us an edge to supply the products and replace the import of ammunition.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Gaurav Chopra from Union Asset Management. Please go ahead. Mr. Gaurav Chopra, please go ahead. Your line is unmuted.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So so I just had one question. I could see in your notes to accounts that you had set up 2 subsidiaries in 2 countries. So just on that note, like how many countries do we have operations in, and how many countries do we intend to sort of capture in say next 5 years time period?
Currently, we have operations in 6 countries, including India. This year, we'll have a Tanzania plant operational by second quarter. And in next 5 years, we'll be having around next 3 to 4 companies will be adding. Countries.
And that basically expands the overall market size too, in terms of like the countries which we are going to enter will have similar market potential, right? Or any color on that front?
Yes. We are where we are entering is basically a mining country. So the potential, like for example, in Australia, it's a $2 billion market size. Okay, so leave aside that, the other countries would have similar size.
Okay. So potentially doubling our market potential in next 5 years through the overseas expansion. Is that understanding correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question and congrats on a great set of numbers. My question is more on the cost savings that it's possible, because what we understand is that out of FY22 top line guidance which has been given, almost 15% is coming from prices, which is having a very strong positive impact on operating leverage and therefore margins. So FY22 it's expected that probably the margin trajectory would be a bit higher than we have seen for the last couple of years. Any way to sort of cement those margins through cost improvements? Any sort of plans to, because as the price drops, if we can retain some part of that increase, it would be great. Thanks.
So if you look at our normal EBITDA margin, it is around 21-22%. Most of the contracts are linked to the basic raw material prices. So we don't see much scope in reducing the cost on that side. But definitely just all other costs like logistic costs, even our procurement side efficiency increasing, the utilization of manpower in a better way, and reducing the cost on some small counts. That is keep going on in last 1 or 2 years, and that we have reflected in our annual reports also, that resource optimization drive is continuing, and as a result of which we have been able to improve the margins despite of all the recent challenges. So on one side we are saving from various initiatives, but on another side we have to spend, and we have to spend more and more on the contribution toward the society. That is going mainly in CSR and donation side. So the situation is like this, where all savings, whatever we will garner, will not be coming into the bottom line. Some of that will keep going for all these initiatives. But these initiatives will help us in the years to come, and I'm pretty sure about that. And as a result, our EBITDA margin will definitely keep going up. The second reason of increasing EBITDA margin will be the increased sales of defense and our increasing sales from overseas market. So couple of all these 3 factors on resource optimization side, defense increase and overseas, our margin should do better or should improve further.
Right, great. And also, if you can just broadly, give us a number for the capacity for the current year and for the next couple of years. I mean, how is it going up? Because last year I think it was around close to 350,000 if I refer to the annual report data. How is that moved and how is it expected to move over the next couple of years?
Last year we have sold 337,000 metric ton, and in this year we have sold 333,000 ton. And to increase the capacities, we have decided to set up 2 new plants. So once those plans get fixed, we will share more on the capacity side. But we are working for next 5 to 10 years of growth plan, and accordingly we will take the decision. And we will keep sharing with all the stakeholders.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's all from my side. And again, congrats on a great set of funds.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pankaj Tibrewal from Kotak Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, Pankaj, audible.
Okay. Congratulations, Manish and the entire team for a wonderful performance.
Thank you very much.
I have one question on the return on capital. Over the last few years, we have done investment, but somehow that is not reflecting in the return on capital, because from 25, 26, 27%, which we normally used to operate, we have come down to 21, 22. With all the things which you alluded in the call, margins, revenue trajectory, is there a belief that the return on capital moves back towards 30%, which we in the last decade used to have, or it will be good to be happy with mid-20s and you push the growth pedal higher? Just wanted your thoughts on that.
Sure. If you look at the previous year's number of 25%, this year it has reduced to almost 21, 22% level. And if you look at the projected sales growth of 30% in 21, 22, and there will be a similar growth of around 20% in 22, 23. If we couple these growth plans, which we are expected to happen, then definitely the return on capital employed will grow up from 25 and it can be reaching around 27, 28%. So we are quite optimistic now, and we believe that definitely the return on capital employed will grow up and will move around 27, 28%, and it can reach to 30% level also.
Okay, that's great. And coming to your defense portfolio, you spoke about missiles, you spoke about hand grenade, but how is the pipeline looking like? Because what you're working today probably will be determined over the next few years. So you spoke about this year the execution starts on hand grenade, but how is the pipeline looking like, and what could be the export opportunity on the defense? That will be interesting to understand, and that will be really helpful. Thank you.
Sure. The current order book is 680 crores, and out of that 450 is from multi-mode hand grenade. And the other products are mainly from pyros, fuses, small mines, and the upcoming products are mainly from upcoming RFPs, which we are expecting is in Pinaka rockets. Already the RFP is floated and we have participated, that is for BMCS. Earlier it got cancelled and they have refloated again. There is an RFP for 30 mm ammunition also, which is available in the public domain. We are likely to participate in that. So as far as pipeline is concerned, there are various RFPs like BMCS, I am repeating again, BMCS, 30 mm ammunitions, and Pinaka, and various mines. So these will definitely help us to build our order book and increase the sales. As far as export opportunities are concerned, we have already received an order of multi-mode hand grenade from Southeast Asian countries. So this is an opening up. That is what we have started, say, almost 15 years back when we started our export in overseas. We believe that similar opportunities will come for supplying these products in various parts of the world. We have an advantage of supply chain network across almost 50 plus countries. So that will definitely help us to penetrate those markets. So this will be a big push. And we have been observing that Government of India is also pushing a lot to make India an export hub, not only dependent on, they not only want to indigenize the ammunition production, they want to make India an export hub. So all these policy push are reflected in their recent decisions. And we believe that these things will help our company a lot.
Okay, great. Thank you so much and wish you guys all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Abhishek from DSP Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, Manish, just wanted to understand a couple of things more is around the competitive intensity from the not so well established guy, given the sharp increase in the RM prices, the working capital requirement increase. Is that something also you see at the marketplace?
We have been observing that smaller players are definitely getting or finding it difficult to cope up all these challenges. You have rightly pointed out that like it is happening in practically all industries where working capital cycle has increased either because of the raw material prices or some delayed payment from the customers. So during these challenging times, it was definitely difficult for all the smaller players. And we also believe that the right marketing strategies are in place as far as solar is concerned. We are getting advantage of that. And we believe that our market share will definitely go up.
And the thought about increasing the domestic capacity is also because of you're seeing a lot of these marginal players going out of the system. Is that also the reason that gives you confidence in our increasing capacity in north and southern part of the country?
Definitely, our strategic plans is not based on the current 1 year or 1.5 years experience. We have made growth plans of next 5 to 10 years. Based on that, we believe that it is required for solar to set up the fresh plant in different parts of the country, to take advantage of logistics and to deliver the product to the customers on time. So based on that strategy, we are setting up the plants. That will help the company to de-risk any operational risk which can happen at one side. So all these decisions are arrived out of those risk mitigation plans and the opportunities available to us.
Sure. And so just one more question. Given the growth trajectory that you're referring to over the next couple of years, the cash flow generation that will happen in the company will be very strong. Even adjusting for the working capital, it will be fairly elevated from what you've actually done in last 2-3 years. So will all that cash flow be plowed back into capacity addition in domestic and go into newer geographies, or will you deleverage also? Any thoughts?
The current leverage position, which we believe that we refer it as a debt equity level. So last year it was around 0.45, and this year it has already improved and it is lower than 0.4 number. So we believe any debt equity ratio between this level is comfortable, and we don't want to make the company over leverage, and that has not been the policy of our company. We will continue the same policy, and whatever expansion programs we will be implementing, that will be part of our annual capex program. Like I have said, this year we have planned 315 crores. That increase is also due to another factor of rising commodity and all the related items which will go into the capex program. So there is an increase because of this factor also. So company don't believe in over leveraging itself. We will continue to believe in that conservative philosophy. We will try to improve the working capital cycle. We will try to increase our margin and flow back into the system.
Okay. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Kagalkar from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, congratulations on great set of numbers and good explanation on the defense business. The only explanation that is further needed is on the Pinaka prospects, because the last order given to my knowledge by government last year of 2,600 crores. And where do we figure in that order, or you expect further regiments which will use our products, because ours is fully complete also now for last 2 years almost, the Pinaka?
Yeah, like we have shared that, like you have been saying that last year there was an order of around 2,600 crores. So that was mainly for hardware related items. And we believe that once government release order for hardware, the next item will be the ammunition. So once ammunition orders start coming up, so we will get advantage of that. Like I have explained in our previous calls, we are the qualified production agency for all the variants of Pinaka. And once government will float the RFPs, we will be the most advantageous player. And the RFPs are already in the pipeline, but due to COVID-related restrictions and other problems, they could not float the RFP. So we are expecting those to happen now.
Okay. And the only other agency is the existing OFB, which has done the previous Pinaka orders on the ammunition part. Am I right?
Yes, you are very much right.
Okay. So if we get the order, we will be the first private sector party to provide for the Pinaka.
Yes, we are the only company in the country which is qualified to do the production of Pinaka rockets in private sector.
Okay. Thanks, sir. And all the best.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as this was the last question for today, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Manish Mahawar for closing comments.
Yeah, thanks, Rituja. On behalf of Antique Stock Broking, I would like to thank the team of Solar Industries for providing us an opportunity to host the call. Manish, would you like to make a closing comment, sir?
We just want to thank everyone present at the call.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all.
Thank you. On behalf of Antique Stock Broking, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.